I really, really struggled with hunger at the beginning of my bodybuilding career. Some people figure out how to lift, and the next week, they're eating 5 meals of chicken, broccoli, and rice. But for me, and for many other folks, especially beginners, I'd have burned out of that life ASAP. So what you can get from this is focus on the basics, because eating protein and calories and lifting consistently, just those things and relatively healthy foods, is like 85% of your physique progress. And if and when you're ready to do more work, great. Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for RP Strength, and it turns out I wasn't wrong about everything. And as a beginner, when little old me first started lifting at age 14 3/4, I've got something else that's 14 3/4. Scott, what do you think it is?
Oh my goodness.
Millimeters, my friend.
Oh.
Yeah.
How many is that in inches?
That is a little bit more than half an inch.
Oh, okay. That's accurate.
Very. So the hell is this video about? Oh yeah. Nutrition. I got some stuff right, believe it or not. I got a ton wrong, but I got some stuff right. I want to tell you about what I did right as a beginner and see if you can take away any lessons and do this yourself. Very good video for beginners, and I think an excellent video for intermediates. And the reason I'm going to say it's an amazing video for advanced folks is 2 reasons. 1, as an advanced person, you have the opportunity to teach others all the time, and so you can tell them this. And 2, just don't click off because we need like the subscriber feed or whatever. Scott, how does YouTube work? The watch time or something?
Yeah, watch time is great.
Yeah.
Just people put your computers on like a playlist and just let it go all night, all day. Just let it run.
Yep. Get the network going, VPN your shit.
Multiple computers.
Yep. Virtual machines. Anything you need to do to waste your money to give us money. Okay. Now, all the BS aside, I have 5 tips for you. 5 things that I did as a beginner, which I think work. Number 1, protein core meals. Very shortly after I started lifting, I started reading Arnold's The Education of a Bodybuilder. And this is quite an old book. It's not like his encyclopedia, which is more new. It's old, and but it's got good stuff, and it's got the pictures from the 70s. It's amazing. And it mentioned eating protein is an important thing. And at that point, I was like a sponge for, I guess that never changed, for all the stuff. So I was like, oh, this is what I have to do. And it's what I did. Every meal had a core of protein in it. When I was losing fat, I kept the core and reduced the carbs and fats. When I was gaining muscle, I kept the core and increased carbs and fats. And that's a big deal. And it's so important because protein, 4 or 5 protein feedings evenly spaced per day, are really, really critical to giving you your best results. And that means in your own diet, having a protein core is a real good thing you can do from day 1 beginner lifting journey. Fitness journey of any kind, really. Next thing that I did right was I had 4 to 6 meals per day nice and early, especially once I started reading Flex magazine and Muscular Development magazine, which I loved back in the day. Some meals that I ate were just protein shakes or protein and carb shakes, and some were whole food meals, but I ate very consistently. Every 3 to 5 hours, I would have another bolus of protein, which not only is every meal protein core, but now there are consistent 4 to 5 meals per day. And I had even times where I ate 6 and 7 just to experiment. Good news, bad news, nothing happens there. And 4 to 5 is actually the better answer. But this consistency of eating and training got me at age 23 to a DEXA confirmed lean body mass of about 175 pounds at 5'6", drug-free, which is kind of cool. And I'm not swagging or anything, but your boy guy, you feel me? Your boy, I'm still drug-free, baby. Check this out. Hell yeah, I'm on that Mike O'Hearn drug-free. Well, you know you're drug-free. But are you? Yeah, of course. Protein meals consistently is really, really awesome. The third thing I did that was, turns out in retrospect, a good idea was that I consumed a lot of foods that were healthy, but at the same time convenient. I literally just didn't have it in me, conscientiousness-wise, like planning for the future-wise, work throughput-wise, to do chicken and rice and Tupperware every meal in college. Like I was that big of a degenerate. And I have more on that in the next point. But I had no problem with making whole grain bread, veggie, and lean roast beef sandwiches, turkey sandwiches. I would have some apples with them as well for more micros and fluids and fiber. And I packed those into my lunch, into a cooler. Then I took this cooler all the way through my classes in many years where I was a student at the University of Michigan as an undergrad, and looked kind of, interesting, except when you're jacked, no one really says anything to you. And maybe no one ever says anything to me anyway, because I was unfortunate looking. But that allowed me to hit my macros every day and keep them healthy fundamentally. There are healthier ways to do it, but I didn't do too bad. But I did this without having to actually meal prep cooked foods, which I, again, just did not have the foresight or conscientiousness to stick to. Eventually, I started cooking, but this sandwich diet worked pretty well for me for a while and was easy to pull off, especially when I was on the go. So what you can get from this is if you can get to eating some pretty healthy food with high protein and that's easy to make, and any more than that, you'd be like, I'm quitting this fitness thing. It's just too much work. Stick to that. And if and when you're ready to do more work, great. The fourth thing I did that was really good was I slowly eased in to hardcore restrictive and prescriptive dieting. Some people figure out how to lift, and the next week they're eating 5 meals of chicken, broccoli, and rice, completely planned out. There's nothing wrong with that. For some people, that works great. But for me and for many other folks, especially beginners, I'd have burned out of that life ASAP. And have been sullied on it for long because I would have been like, oh yeah, fitness bodybuilder. That's the thing where you like eat like a machine and you just like think about not being around anymore all the time. Yeah, that thing sucked. And a lot of people think like once you start doing resistance training and trying to work on your body comp, that like you just have to eat like a machine all the time and it sucks. So what I did instead was I ate lots of foods that I liked when dieting for muscle gain or for maintenance. And when I was dieting for fat loss, I ate a little bit cleaner and I controlled the portions, but I never made the diet too restrictive. And a similar approach is like Sam Sulek takes this approach and has taken it for a while of like, yeah, he still eats some burritos and some chocolate milk here and there, but like if it's keeping him in the game, he's got lots of protein coming in, he's enjoying it, like that's dope. And that built me loads of muscle while I had a ton of fun and growing passion for my bodybuilding phase. And by the time I was eating super boring meals, I was already bought in, hook, line, and sinker, addicted to the sport, and then they're no problem. Focus on the basics and don't rush in if you don't feel like it, because eating protein and calories and lifting consistently, just those things and relatively healthy foods, is like 85% of your physique progress. And so if you do that, you don't have to get the exact macros and exactly chicken, broccoli, rice, or all whatever bodybuilders are eating. Eventually, if you want to be your best, yeah, some more specificity is good, but don't take it too seriously. You get critiques of Sam Sulek that people are like, oh, he shouldn't be having chocolate milk and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, shut up. He's young and he's doing something that checks almost all the boxes, provides all the nutrition, but is not taking his life and making it completely devoid of anything. And I've met a lot of young bodybuilders who bodybuild in their teens. They would quit by their early 20s because they just didn't want to live a machine lifestyle anymore. And they would go party and go on trips and not even lift and just try to enjoy life because they like sapped that life enjoyment from themselves. And I knew I wanted to be lifting for a very long time, possibly for forever. And so intuitively and explicitly, I was like, I can always get more serious later. And then I did. Lastly, I learned how to do rough food palatability modulation. This was a little bit later, but still learning a ton in my beginner-ish phase. I really, really struggled with hunger at the beginning of my bodybuilding career, which started around 2013 to 2016. I was already lifting for like damn near 15 years, but in many ways still a beginner. And I figured out that when I ate more tasty foods, I craved more tasty foods when I was on a fat loss diet. And so I crave them, I eat them, that makes me crave more food, and then it's harder to keep a deficit and I'm going insane. So I intuitively started to figure out this, and then I researched some stuff, and the Stéphane Guyenet has the food palatability reward hypothesis, which he made very famous. I looked into that. It basically says like, you eat tasty food a lot because it tastes good, and you just keep eating it because it feels nice. And so if you want to eat less food and make a diet less miserable, just don't pick super tasty foods. So I went full bore on this, and I was eating meals that had, right, so if you're eating something right now, finish swallowing, don't have anything a lot in your stomach because you're going to throw up. Oatmeal, but salted cooked oatmeal with broccoli and chicken chunks in the salted oatmeal. Scott, does that sound like a medieval something or other to you?
Yes, that sounds terrifying.
It's like space gruel jail food.
Yikes.
And that's what it tasted like. And I was real hungry at the end of cuts, and I had no problem because halfway through that meal, I was like, I don't really want any more of this. And I would just have to finish it to hit my macros. That's way better than scooping up all your super tasty meals really fast and then praying to God you get a time machine to get to your next meal again. So my suggestion to you from that is, when you're gaining weight and eating fun foods, by all means, make them tasty, make your health food tasty. Even if it's really good for you, it can still be tasty. But on the other end, if you're really struggling with hunger during a diet, just eat some simpler, more plain foods, if nothing else. Lots of high volume foods, lots of high fiber foods, not a lot of flavorings and stuff. And then you might find that the food's just a mechanical thing you do. You're not bothered by hunger and you get amazing results and with much less suffering, which is really, really good. If you need help with how to structure your diet, the RP Diet Coach app is amazing. Link in the description. We have the RP Hypertrophy app. And if you really need a lot of help with your diet and you're willing to put down some pretty serious bucks, RP Coaching is also going to be linked below. These are some of the best coaches in the world. They will step by step with Zoom calls and everything help you accomplish your goals. Folks, I hope that was helpful. Hope you learned something. And if you didn't, well, at least maybe the sound of my voice made you have a smile in your heart, which your cardiologist says is really just the beginning of a giant heart attack that's going to kill you soon. What? Nah, he never said that. I don't think. See you guys next time.